Tonight, we're going to change the way that we do the Pledge of Allegiance. I will do it, and I would ask anybody that wants to stand, that's fine. If they feel like remaining seated, that's also fine too. So let me just say it, that'll avoid the disruption that we seem to have. And it was a good suggestion made by somebody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. That said, I would ask David if you'd like to give a moment of silence.
I'd like to ask everyone to observe a moment of silence for our healthcare workers, our emergency services workers, fire, and those who serve in the military who go in harm's way to serve us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, David.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Marty.
I need to announce that the meeting is once again being live streamed on YouTube. There is no public hearing tonight, and I will indicate in the chairman's report, there's 4 items. The board met in an executive session with the township solicitor on August 31st to discuss an issue in which identifiable complaints are expected to be filed. Number 2, bids are due on Hershey Mill Demand Project on September 29th, 2020 at 1 p.m. All bid documents are available on Penn Bid. And in the minutes, it has the linkage. Number 3, information on the incoming election is available at the Chester County Voter Services. And the link there is, Ricky has put the link in there for that also. And finally, Vince Murphy has resigned from the Board of Auditors. If anyone's interested, and I think we already have two applications. Is that right, Rich?
Yes.
And please contact the township, Rick or John. Emergency service tonight is there's no reports, there's no financial reports, and the next items are the minutes and the treasurer's reports. I have read the minutes. I find them okay. John did a very nice job, John did a very nice job. Does anybody have any comments that they want to add?
Yes, I would like to make one correction, please. Where it says that under the Park and Rec comment about the film festivals, where it says dozens and dozens of people applied and sent in their screen, their film. Actually, 1,100 people applied with their films. So I think if we can reflect that, that'd be great, because that shows that Jason's working really hard, very diligently to make sure that there's community involvement, and in this case, international involvement.
Yeah,
so I think that needs to be recognized.
John, you know where that is in the minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Susan, I
Thank
hear you
you.
have no guests. Is that correct?
That is correct. There are no guests.
How about that? We scared them away. The treasurer's report, does
Make
anybody?
a motion. Marty,
Yeah.
make a motion.
Oh, I'm
I'd like
sorry.
to-
I'm sorry. That's
I
right.
can make a motion that we approve the minutes of August 18th, 2020 as corrected.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other comments? There can't be anybody from the audience up there because there isn't anybody. Okay, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much for that. The next item is the treasurer's report. Mike, you want to give us a summary before we ask for any questions from anybody? Or David, you would like to make the motion first?
There's not a lot to comment on this batch. Of course, more hard work put together to make it happen. I feel for the staff having to do as many refunds as they did. But at this point, and I have no comments on any of the disbursements as indicated. And I would then yield the rest of my time to Michelle, who had some comments on expenditures and that sort of thing. So Michelle, I'll turn it over to you.
One of the things I was going to ask about was actually on batch 2 of 3, page 6. I was going to ask about the crusher rental, and I actually talked about that with Mark Miller, and I don't have any questions regarding that, but I was concerned there might be a double charge there, but he actually said that there were 2 separate expenditures there, so that was fine. Under batch 2 of 3, page 7, and the item number, the vendor number is 1342, is the TMAC expense for $1,200. And I'd asked about what that was. It's just it's a transportation organization that we need to be members of, or we just won't get any grants. So,
Well, it's the Transportation Management Association of Chester County.
right,
I mean, it's an advocacy organization both for Scotian and more broadly for Chester County. So they're a liaison with PennDOT and theoretically with
right.
U.S. Department of Transportation as well, and also advise on best practices and such.
Right. And I did get that information from you guys. So thank you for that. The next thing was on the next page, page 9. I'd asked about the vendor number 1397, the aqua residential reading fees and why we have to pay that. I did get a good explanation. Thank you for that, John. And I was concerned about a couple of duplicate services with Buckley Bryan and one of the other vendors, but John explained that that is actually because one of those fees is applied to the municipal authority. Is that correct? Excuse me.
You're on the right track. For the collections, utility
Right, right.
collections, we bill half of the legal fees, the same way with postage,
Refuse
to refuse fund, half with the sewer fund.
with, right.
Yeah.
So those were the questions I had. And then I did ask about a couple of the smaller expenses under Rick's, couple of the 99-cent expenditures. Rick, you are a big spender. I just wanted to make sure that some of these little recurring 99-cent fees are actually legit, because you never know when you're going to get slammed with a little 99-cent fee on a regular basis, and are they really legitimate? So it turns out they are. So I didn't have any other questions. I did want to just point a couple of those things out, though. That was it.
Michelle and everybody else, the way we used to do it, if you had questions about the bills in any way, shape, or form, sometime during the week preceding the meeting, you called John and squared it away, so that at the meeting, we really didn't have to take a lot of time up with respect to challenging the bills here. So
Well,
if you were to, that's up to the board if they want to continue to do that or not. You can do them here, or you can do them there.
I like
think
having
that-
the open discussion when we have questions. And
I think so
it's good.
too.
It's educational for us and educational
Yeah.
for anybody who's listening.
That's
Does
the
anybody,
thing.
if that's what everybody wants to do, that's fine by me. Okay, we'll continue to do it that way. That's great. I appreciate that.
I
That'll
didn't have any other
everybody on their,
questions.
that'll keep everybody on their toes, Ms. Cyril, because now everybody's going to know that you're going to have questions, and they're going to see if they can out-question you. So here we go.
The only
There's
observation.
no
I'll
other
make-
questions from anybody?
David has a point.
David,
The only
John
David,
has a point.
wait a minute. David has one, and then John.
The only observation I'll make is that the board's responsibility is general oversight. And sometimes I think we get a little bit into the weeds. So I would suggest a pre-discussion to remove any questions, and then a larger discussion of oversight at the public board meeting. So I think you can kind of bifurcate those things.
Okay. Anybody else? John?
Just one point, the last expenditure is the largest one, 143,805. I'm assuming we're paying West Goshen for waste, is that right, John?
Yeah, it's for about 2/3, John. About 2/3 of our wastewater gets treated at the West Goshen plant.
Okay,
Quarterly basis.
I know
we're
about
billed
that,
for
I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
From time to time, you will see a number of things. There's two ways of looking at that. There's two different fees, two different schedules. One's 21%, I think, and the other is 16%, if I remember correctly. Ricky can explain it. It's a little convoluted until you get your arms around how this whole issue works, because we do not have different districts. We merge everybody together and have one rate. There are some townships that have multiple rates for different ones because there are different costs. For example,
And just to
our new
clarify,
plan
Mike,
is,
in answer to the question, this is the operating cost. It's based up for our share of the operating costs.
Right.
And it's based on actual flows. And just so there's no confusion, if it was a capital cost, it would be 1/6 of the overall expense
at 16%.
based on actual flows.
So
Okay.
that's how it goes. So you'll see you'll see some of this coming up now because of the plant expansions down there or recoveries that are taking place. So, anybody else have any comments? David, you want to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we graciously accept the receipts and approve the expenditures as presented in the expenditure register and as submitted in the treasurer's report.
I second the
Second.
motion.
Michelle seconded. Is there?
John seconded.
No one,
Both of us.
or John did, and no other comments? All those in favor of the motion then?
Aye.
Aye. Everybody's, it's 5-0.
Susan,
Thank you very much.
Susan, we don't have any visitors yet, do we? Nobody's called in?
We do not have any visitors. No, it's just us, the 9 of us.
Susan would let us know.
Okay.
There is no old business, there is no new business. Is that correct, Rick?
Correct.
Wait a minute. John raised his hand. John?
I wanted to make a comment. I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I got the notice that we're going to have a medical station, collect prescription and over-the-counter drugs. Is that going to be at the township lobby?
Yes, it was actually installed today.
Oh,
It's
great.
actually, technically, we jumped the gun a little bit because we can't open it up. The police have to actually open it up. But yes, probably in the next couple of days, we will start to be able to accept prescription over-the-counter drugs, but no illegal drugs, obviously, no loose medication. And it's a great way to safely dispose of drugs so they're out of the hands of minors. Also, and out of more, just as importantly, don't go into to rivers and streams and, pollute water.
Right.
So it's
Well,
a really
I
good
just
service.
wanted to say, I think that's great. The last time I had to get rid of stuff, I had to drive over to the police station in West Goshen. So it's nice to have it here. Let me
Yep.
just ask, who handles this stuff and how do we get rid of it?
Well, the police handle it. And to be honest, I don't know exactly what. Rick, do you know what they actually do on bond?
We contact the police department, they'll come and clean it out.
Okay, good.
My wife wants to thank you for whoever made that decision. My wife thinks it's great. She doesn't have to travel down to the police headquarters now or someplace else to do it. So she's thrilled to pieces. So that's very important. I just want you to know it's nice to keep a happy family. So
Great
with that said, there is no public comment. Is that still true, Susan? There's nobody here?
There is nobody
There's no
here. It's just,
public
it's
comment.
just the 9 of us.
Okay, thank you. Rick, is there anything that we should make under the public comment period?
No. Next Tuesday, we'll have, at least so far, we have 2 people that applied for the auditor position. So in order to meet the clock, you'll need to interview both of them, and they have to be public because it's an elected position, and hopefully make an appointment. And then also next week, the board will have to determine what its position is going to be with respect to the Malvern Institute Zoning Hearing Board.
Rick, are you saying next week or do you mean 2 weeks out?
2 weeks, I'm sorry, 2 weeks, or next meeting, I'm sorry, 2 weeks,
Next meeting.
15th.
Okay.
And I assume that we're going to have the Monday meeting ahead of that. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
And do you want to tell everybody about the dates that we're going to meet, pre-meeting with Westtown and the date with Westtown?
We're just waiting to get a confirmation from everybody. So
Well, do
once
you
we
want to
get
tell
that,
everybody
then we'll set them up.
what you think it's going to be? It's the
We're
22nd and
tentatively looking
29th,
at
right?
the 22nd and 29th, and 29th.
And that'll be in the evening, correct?
Yes,
Thank you.
And is it going to be, it'll be here, it'll be food?
no.
No food?
Based on my knowledge, we're going to be doing Zoom.
Oh, that's right.
You can
That's
order
right. I'm
food
sorry.
in.
I forgot about that. That's right. In fact, I
In the
think
bag.
they may be bigger on it than us folks, guys, just in case, Michelle, in case people want to know, because I ran into one of them and it's amazing. They do everything that way. There is no liaison reports. There's a couple of correspondence. The Goshen Firemen's Relief Association, John, that's just typical and the same every year, right?
Yeah, the only thing, there was a finding,
Minor, very minor.
bucks of They spent some money, some of the volunteer fire relief money on training for paid guys. They reimbursed, the issue got flagged. The fire company reimbursed the volunteer fire relief for that, expense. Seemed like a minor error, understandable human error.
Is this where the fair goes, the money from the fair goes in here?
No, this is the volunteer fire relief aid. So this
Okay.
is part of sort of the other side of the coin from state pension aid. It comes from that same tax on out-of-state insurance companies. But it can only be used to pay for certain fire expenses that are used by for the volunteer firefighters. So it's very tightly regulated about how the money can be used, and it gets audited every year, just like the pension aid or the state liquid fuel money. And there was a finding here.
Yeah, and it was really a minor finding, the
Yeah.
$759.
Nothing nefarious, just a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But for the new people, it's a little challenge to find out where all the money from the police department is or the fire department is or isn't. I mean, they have a number of accounts, different things for different things. And so it's a little easier to deal with than the West Goshen sewer situation, but it takes a little while to catch on to what everybody's doing and talking about.
Yeah, it was
So
pretty.
the new people, don't be too worried about it because you will catch on.
No.
Not. That's all the agenda has on it. Ricky, you had something for any other matter, right?
No, not for any other matter, but the zoning hearing board will be meeting on September 30th. It will be an in-person hearing, and we will probably be meeting in one of the public works garages so that we can maintain social distancing. We just felt it was a little.
Is this meeting for us?
No,
Zoning hearing.
this will be the zoning hearing board public hearing on the Malvern Institute application.
We're not making any recommendation, right?
You will make a recommendation. It'll be on your agenda for the 15th for the board to make a decision on what position it wants to take. So it'll be on your agenda for the 15th, and the actual zoning hearing board hearing will be on the
Okay.
3rd.
Okay, for those that need to know, that probably what you sent out something that you made a little bit of
Yes.
reference to it. And if everybody wants to dive into it, it's the last piece of document that we got from the refusal that said, hey, you got to do something about this. So if somebody wants to refresh themselves for that before next two Tuesdays out, you may want to read that thing or at least scan it so that you know what we're talking about, because it gets a little bit convoluted, to say the least.
But we know what we're talking about. The last thing that came in was a court decision.
Yeah, the court decision is the one I'm talking
And
about.
that could have been appealed. Is it still open for appeal, Rick?
No, it's passed, long past.
It's gone.
No, the appeal's done. This is,
They had a 30-day window, John, and that was long past.
That's what I thought. Okay, I'm good.
hey, Rick, I think I'm right about this.
Nothing else?
When they make a decision this time, does it have to go over to the judge to bless it?
Only if somebody takes an appeal.
Only
But
if they take an appeal.
Yeah, but this decision comes back to, the judge said the zoning hearing board had to approve it. The only question is, he didn't say what it was. There's two options on the table. The 2-story addition, which would,
Died.
or the 1-story addition with the conditions.
Is that the only things that we're going to be discussing on the two?
Yeah, you have option A or option B.
Okay, that's great. That makes it a whole lot easier, folks. It's a whole lot
Rick,
easier.
do we have to refresh our conditions or do they still stand?
They're all still valid.
Okay.
There's about 25 or 26 of them, to say the least. There's a lot of them. I will say this. There may be some discussion from the people about the fence. And that can go on for a while. So Mike, you could get into a lot of chatter about that. That may not happen, but it's happened in every meeting so far. So I would expect it to happen again, but who knows? I don't know if we're going to Zoom the meeting. I would assume that people aren't going to feel that they've been cut out of this thing by us zooming the meeting, but we're certainly not going to have a meeting in the building. They can go into the public utility, public works part of the building, right, Rick?
For this, the zoning hearing board part will be the public meeting or public hearing.
Oh, that's right. That's,
Yeah.
we're
Is there-
just doing it up here as a Zoom. meeting.
John,
We
is there
may
any
not
way-
have anybody. I don't know.
John, is there any way that we can simultaneously Zoom that meeting? Or will it be live streamed so that,
If we're doing it in person, no, we'd probably have to YouTube it.
all right,
It wouldn't work to do some sort of Zoom thing.
okay, so, but it would be
Maybe, I'll
live.
tell you what, David, maybe Susan and I can put our heads together
Mhm.
tomorrow. Susan, you're here tomorrow, right?
I am here.
Okay.
Yes.
Why don't Susan and I put our heads together? I think the answer is no, but we'll put our heads together and see if we can
All
try.
right.
I would, if it's at all possible, John, I would love to see that happen because I can't come.
Well,
can't-
you
I
can
can't
always
come,
live,
obviously.
we can definitely live stream it, Marty. So that's,
Yeah, that's what I would have
we
to
have
do.
maybe a way of taking questions through email. We'll report back on something.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anybody have anything else? Ricky or John, do you have anything else? I don't have anything else.
I'll make a
Michelle,
motion that we adjourn.
Oh,
Mike,
second.
Second,
Mike, I
All
don't know
those in
what
favor?
happened. I thought your
Oh,
email to
bit-
Bolano was going to generate some of Joe's compadres to come tonight, but that didn't happen. So
Well, that's because my responses to him were polite and they were endeavored to provide further information. I didn't take shots. I tried to afford an opportunity to further good conversation. I was
Yeah, well,
Yep, thank you.
Mike, what you missed, and I tried to say earlier, is that Joe misunderstood your comment about a public meeting and posted
Yes.
for social networks that the
Yeah.
meeting is going to be public, held at the township meeting, so at the
Yes.
township building. So that created a little bit of consternation.
Well, I did, Rick, did you put a sign on the door?
There was a notice on the door about how to log
Thank you.
in, and I communicated that back to Mr. Ruana.
all right.
All right, so.
for
we all
those,
voted yes
that like
Libby?
to respond to people,
Michelle, go ahead.
if you send, this is our history with Joe Bolano. If you send an email to Joe, he will always send one back and it forces you to do another one.
can I please ask that we not talk about
Yeah.
individual
Yeah.
residents in a public
I mean,
meeting?
I'm just saying.
I'm not, I don't want to talk about that individual.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that.
I wanna talk about
I think we can't talk about individual residents in a public.
I agree. That's it.
That's
All right,
right.
there's a motion and a second to adjourn.
Aye.
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 Okay,